everybody. This is Pastor Susan, and welcome to a new week of devotions as we are looking at Jesus' invitation to a transformed life. And this week we're going to be paying particular attention to the beginning of Jesus' great Sermon on the Mount. It is the signature piece of the really of most of Jesus's teachings and things about character that are shaped by a relationship with God that he tells us about and demonstrates in his own life. Today we're going to be looking at just the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount, which is following the Beatitudes. We're going to talk a little bit about the Beatitudes tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week. But today we're going to be looking at chapter 5 of Matthew's Gospel, verses 13 and 14. Listen to these words and see if you hear anything that is interesting or distinct to you. So Jesus begins by saying, verse 13, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It's no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot." Verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid." So, two things I want us to think about with this. There's something distinct here in how Jesus talks about these two things about salt and light. One is Jesus says you, the plural for you, like you all, y'all. Y'all are the salt of the earth. Y'all are the light of the world. Y'all, you is plural. And then are, you are, is in present tense. It's not about the past, you weren't, or you're not going to be. You are. Y'all are the salt of the earth. Y'all are the light of the world. And who is y'all? Here is us, followers of Jesus, the people who are listening to his words and seeking to put our lives, develop or allow that word to permeate our own lives. So, salt, what is it about salt? These two images that Jesus uses. Now, he's great, isn't he, about using images and metaphors that help us to understand a little bit more about what our lives in him are like. And so he uses salt, which is a purifier. It is also a flavor. It is something that I put way too much salt on my food because it just makes it taste all that much better. But it's also a purifier. It is something that once you apply salt to something, it purifies it. Also, light, as a metaphor, is something that overcomes darkness. It dispels darkness in a way. When there is light, you can see things that you can't see otherwise in the dark. And this is our calling as followers of Jesus, to be salt and light. And, contrary to the way in which the law was presented by most religious leaders, Jesus begins his sermon by focusing on character rather than commands. Rather than focusing all on the law, this is what you should do, Jesus says this is the kind of character that you are called to. This is what it means to be my follower. You be salt. You be someone who is out there bringing flavor to the world, but also a different way of not just bringing flavor, not just getting a Pied Piper going, but really helping people to see more clearly. That's light, right? But see the purity, see the things that matter most to God, to see what it means to live a life that is directed in the pathways of Jesus. And so I want us to think today, as we leave this morning's devotion, to think about character. What kind of character are you presenting in your life? What does it mean for you in your life to be salt and light? What needs to be purified in your own life so that the flavor that is the love of God can be expressed through your life? What ways can you be a light in the world? That God's light shines through you in your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, with people that you meet on the streets. In what way does the character of God and the character of Jesus Christ show up in your life and in mine? Let's think about those things today, and let's commit ourselves to God and to our leader Jesus, that we might follow in his will and his way. Maybe so in your life and in mine. Amen and amen.